congratulations to Coach Fisher and Texas A&M. They made enough plays to win. What an environment! Love coming to this place. So hats off to the people of Texas A&M and fans and the environment here. It's one of the great venues in all of college football, and grateful for the opportunity to coach in this environment. I just told the team in the locker room, there's not another team in America that I would rather be the head coach of. I mean, they played their freaking guts out there today. And not to make excuses, but shorthanded, as you guys know. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. Injuries that happen in the game at the worst positions it could possibly happen at. But we talk about staying in the fight, meaning just continuing to battle and stay in the fight. And our guys stayed in the freaking fight today. And all we said was just get this thing to the fourth quarter and let's find a way to win it. And we got it to the fourth quarter. It was a one-score game after the touchdown, and we just couldn't quite get over the hump. And that's disappointing, starting with me. And I told them in the locker room, it was fun watching them out there today. I mean, they flew around. They played with passion. Didn't always play smart, and that's the frustrating thing that goes back to me as the head coach. Too many fundamental things that popped up today, whether it be a missed tackle or a couple of critical drops that we had, 2 critical penalties on defense that gave them first downs in the first half, 3 intentional groundings. Just not a clean game. We've been a pretty good team this year from a penalty standpoint, but they had 2 penalties, which it's interesting, 2 penalties, and then we had 8, and our 8 were legitimate. I mean, they were the right calls, but proud of our defense. They did a good job of getting stops and holding them to field goals in the second half and keeping us in the fight. Again, disappointing we couldn't create a turnover ourselves, get a takeaway. I mean, it's just hard, guys. It's hard in the SEC when you're not generating takeaways, especially against this defense. I mean, that's the best front we've played all season, and 45's a phenomenal football player, and then they're really good in the secondary. But having said that, proud of our guys. We got to go back home to Columbia now. We got 4 in a row at home, and we showed the kind of team we can be. We're getting healthier now. Hopefully some guys that we had out today will be back next week. Hopefully some of the guys that got banged up today will be back next week. We'll have to see when we go back to Columbia. But, we showed what we can be, and now we got an opportunity in front of our fans back in Columbia. And I know how Gamecock Nation is, and I know they will turn out for Jacksonville State, then Vanderbilt, then Kentucky, and then Clemson. And let's see if we can finish this thing the right way, because our kids care, and they hurt in that locker room, and we need an awesome home crowd on next Saturday afternoon against Jacksonville State. And then we as coaches need to do an even better job of helping our guys make enough plays to win this game when you're on the road in the SEC. And we didn't do enough today, but back to work tomorrow. Injury-wise, Trey Jones has a high ankle sprain. Don't know the prognosis on him. Tree obviously had to come in his place. Tree was available, but as you guys saw, he wasn't 100%. We were hoping to not have to play him in case of emergency, but that was an emergency when Trey got hurt. And then Trey Knox has got a little bit of a hamstring. Hopefully he'll be okay. You guys may ask why Xavier Legette wasn't in there on that last drive. He got his ankle rolled up on, he said, on the second down play over there on their sideline. So he needed to come out, and didn't feel like he could go in on that 3rd and 4th down play as well. So had our opportunities. We just got to continue to put our guys in position to make plays, and our guys, we got to continue to help them to make that play when we get the opportunity. So I'll shut up. I know I've talked long enough. Any questions you guys have? Yeah, that was critical. The whole thing was just not play conservative, David, and get it to halftime, but in a lot of ways, like, we weren't going to win this football game letting Texas A&M play 80 plays on defense, and we weren't going to win it throwing it 50 times or 40 times like we did last week, and having a bunch of plays ourselves. Like, we needed to, because of our depth, needed to find a way to shorten the game and keep the chains moving and generate enough runs. But when you have 3 intentional groundings and a half, I mean, it's debilitating because you lose the down, you lose yardage, we're backed up. And those aren't all on Spencer. Obviously, he's having to throw it away because the protection breaks down. Um, and a couple times, where he threw it, he expected somebody to be there, whether it be a running back that didn't get out because he got hung up in pass protection or whatever it might be. But certainly, we haven't done that. I was as surprised as you were that we had one, much less three. But obviously, those were tough to overcome in that position. That defense is good enough, and we don't need to help them.
So you guys had the three sacks in the first quarter,
Yeah.
none after that. Just did they change something in the protection, or what was working in that first quarter?
We did a little bit more personnel-wise on defense today. We kind of something they hadn't seen before. A little bit more of a three-down package. We got Jaron Willis out there along with Bam Scott. Just coming out of the Missouri game, Emily, it was. Let's face it, we haven't done a great job of creating enough negative plays. And to sit here and just say we're going to continue to do the same thing over, but playing the same stuff week in, week out, and expect a different result is not realistic. So we wanted to mix it up. We did a little bit more of that package where we got Bam Scott and Jaron Willis on the field. So that I think was an issue for them. Those guys looked like they did a good job. We did a little bit more of not just playing four defensive linemen. We did some three-down stuff for Nick Barrett, who's really good in the interior, playing nose tackle. Thought he did a good job with that. And we wanted to create some negative plays, and we did. I don't know if, they had certainly, once they saw what we were doing, they adjusted to it a little bit. But, at the end of the day, we had some stuff called, and we just got to win our one-on-ones. I wouldn't say in the second half it was so much them changing anything. We continued to call it, and we got to continue to find ways to get home. And we hit the quarterback. I mean, I told Max after the game I got a ton of respect for him because coming into this game, I mean, he had taken some shots in games, and I told him that after the game. Like, he's tough as nails and took some shots today. And we hit him, and disappointing that we weren't able to, get some turnovers from hitting him that many times. He was suspended for a violation of athletic department policy. Nothing illegal at all. But athletic department policy that we have where he was not allowed to play the first half and was able to play the second.
Nick Harper had one of his best games probably as a college. We saw that after the drop, Spencer kind of went over to him and said, "Hey, I got you on the next one." What did you like out of what you saw from him today?
What a competitor he is, how much he enjoys playing the game. That's what we talked to our team about all week was just, show how much you enjoy, like, uh, G-rated, forget the record. Show how much we play, how much we enjoy playing. And they did that in practice all week, Nick included, and I thought they did that out there today. And Nick showed that. He he obviously felt awful about the drop on that first third down, but Spencer told him, "Hey man, I'm coming right back to you." And it's easy for Spencer to say that because the whole team sees how hard Nick Harbour works. And I think we talked about it on Tuesday in the press conference. I mean, the guy's out there early before every practice catching extra balls. He's out there after every practice. And that's why the team, I mean, he had an unbelievable week of practice. Told his dad last night at the hotel that we do one-on-ones, receivers versus DBs on Wednesday in practice. And he had one of the most impressive periods of one-on-one routes versus DBs that much he's ever had, much less anybody. I mean, he just continues to get better because he works. So Spencer told him, "I'm coming back to you." I told him on the sideline, it's one play. You're going to make a ton of plays today before the game is out, and he certainly did that. So proud of him, and he just continues to get better. And we continue to try and find ways to get him the ball. I mean, we ran that little jet sweep last week against Missouri, and it was really for Leggett, but Leggett wasn't playing or wasn't good to go. So Nick got it, and then we saw him on that play, and it's like, geez, like he can get going and gain speed. So we put that in today for him, and he did a great job. Yeah. Just a stubbornness to do it. is the biggest thing. Like, nobody runs the ball against this defense, Hale. Like, nobody. And they're really good up front. They're really good at linebacker. They're really good in the secondary. But we weren't going to come in here and just, throw our hands up and say we can't run the ball. I told Dow on Sunday or Monday that, look, we need to come out of this game. We need more carries for our running backs. And I get it. It may be 1st and 10, and then it goes to 2nd and 8 or 2nd and 7. But we've got to keep the clock moving. We can't ask our defense to play a ton of plays. Let's keep them fresh. Let's keep our guys fresh. And it'll help our offensive line out from a pass protection standpoint if we're able to just get the run game going, because the defensive line's not teeing off on you because they know you're throwing. So we wanted to come into this game and get Mario 20-plus carries. Looks like he had 16, but it wasn't for a lack of trying. Some of those were, RPOs or whatever you want to call it, where Spencer pulled it, and we kicked it out on the perimeter because of the look. But Mario ran hard. I kept telling him on the sidelines that, man, I feel like you're so close to breaking one, and he was. And we got to continue to get that going to, help our offensive line out and be able to, take a little bit out of defenses physically. Yeah, the one where he was down on the first half, yeah, he dislocated it. So I guess, yeah, he was in pain, obviously, but I don't know, I guess they popped it back in, and he was fine after that. Yep. That was really in practice this week, talking about Nick Harbor. Same thing with Jalen Kilgore. He just works and is steady, and the moment's never too big for him. And we've been working, all year. You guys have been out there in August and probably saw us, but between Eddie Lewis, Marion Brown, Vakari Swain, Jalen Kilgore. We even put Luke Doty back there some to catch punch this week as well, and he was very natural at it. So Amarian wasn't playing today. Vakari, he didn't play. Still has a red shirt. Kind of figuring out what we're going to do with him this season. And then it was really Jalen or Luke, but Jalen looked very natural and wanted to do it and looked great in practice doing it for sure. So it was an easy decision. It's not putting a freshman back there in front of, what's this place hold, 108,000, I think, putting a freshman out back there against 108,000 people, and that's basically their starting defense. It's on their punt team. It's not the easiest environment that you want to throw a true freshman into. So any other freshman, I probably would have been hesitant to do that, but not Jalen Kilgore. He's a stud. Yeah, I thought he did a good job. He's a guy. He's been our third corner all year long, so he's gotten in there and played some. We knew we needed to spell and help those DBs out a little bit and not allow Texas A&M to be out there for 80 plays total. Looks like they played 70, some more than we wanted them to be. But Judge did a good job, and he was in there for the whole first half and started because of O'Donnell's situation, and then came in there and did a good job. And Keenan Nelson had to come in there for DQ after he had his incident. But proud of Judge. Thought he did a good job.
Seems like, I don't know, the last couple of weeks, a lot of the answers you give kind of relate to injuries or freshmen, for good or bad. When you're trying to kind of look at this season, big picture, do you ever think that you'll look back in a couple of years at this year and see all the freshmen getting experience, and this is kind of the foundation of everything you get from?
Yeah, there's no question that playing this many freshmen in critical spots, they're going to be better for it. It's one thing I was talking to Coach Fisher about before the game was, he played a lot of freshmen on the offensive line last season themselves, and now they're pretty dang good up front, and Tree and Tro and Shivers, was on the trip today. We were prepared to play him. He gets better. Nick Harbor, Tyshawn Russell, Jalen Kilgore, Judge Collier, Pup Howard, Desmond. Who else is out there? Braswell's played some in there. So, yeah, we're playing a bunch of freshmen. And the other thing, too, along those lines, this is, game 8. In my mind, they're not really freshmen anymore. Like, you've played 8 games, so, we're not going to use that excuse from that standpoint. But, yeah, we are playing a lot of youth, have a bunch of youth, and we've had a bunch of injuries. But, we'll look back at the end of the season and reevaluate everything and take a big picture look at this season. But my mindset right now is we got 4 home games left in our stadium, and we need to continue to get better. We're a team that's gotten better as the year has gone every single year. This year should be no different. I hope we're getting healthier. I hope that Vershawn Lee will be back next week, and hope that Amarian Brown will be back next week. And some of the other guys, Tree wasn't 100% today, obviously. Hope he'll be back closer to 100% next week. And Trey Jones, I hope is not long term, and we can get in there and really take a step forward here over these next 4 weeks. No, I think he. You've got to be consistent on and off the field at all times, and I'm not telling you guys anything I haven't talked to him about individually and having conversations with. Like, we want to be able to play guys, but how you do things off the field is how you're going to do things on the field, and just having that consistent accountability. And not that Jaron was bad, but just inconsistent a little bit. So he's much better with everything that he's doing, with the understanding what it takes to be a player at this level. It really goes back to, I think I told you guys the Mississippi State week. We don't do a ton of scout team work, but when we did, he was number 14 for Mississippi State, who's a great linebacker. And with the scheme that Mississippi State runs on defense, Jaron was kind of that guy, he was that guy in practice, and presented a lot of problems to our offense, in practice. So then we said, you know what, some of the things we're seeing, he can help us on special teams. And then we tried to get him going on special teams coming out of, Mississippi State, the 4th game, I think, going into week 5, and he just continues to get better. So like a lot of these other guys, they work, they get better, and they get opportunities on the field. But we went to Jaron on Sunday night or Sunday, I guess it was, and just talked about this package that we're going to put in for you and Bam, and allow you guys to kind of do what you did today. And he did a great job with it, and certainly we need to continue to expand it. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you all.